Hey, I'm Marie, and this week I want to share with you how I do my health and wellness tracking in Notion. So let's jump in and I'll give you a little tour of my health and wellness dashboard. So here we are on the health and wellness dashboard. I've got quick links to my other life areas. I've got a couple shortcuts to some things related to health and wellness, but I'm not going to dig into those right now. I'm mostly just going to focus on the layout and the kind of overview and what I'm tracking in terms of health and wellness. I like to break my goals up in terms of identity goals, who I want to be as a person, and then SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So each of these have a time set for them. I've got a target and a current state so that I can measure my progress against them. And ideally, I've got some specific ways that I can help myself achieve those goals. Now, in this particular case, most of these are health-related goals, and all of those things that I'm measuring are things that I track on a daily basis, which means my journal database is going to be the best and easiest way to do this kind of tracking. So I have the database title hidden right now, but I'm going to turn that on so you can see this is just my journal database, and I track a ton of things in my journal. If you've seen anything that I've shared on my journaling before, I think I've got over 1,500 journal entries. I've been doing it for years now. And over the years, I adjust certain things that I'm tracking. Notion's made some nice additions recently so that you can do things like number formatting. So let's say, for example, I'm measuring my daily joy. If I open up that property, I can see that as a bar, or I can see that as a ring, and I'm just dividing by 10. So I'm basically giving a score out of 10 for joy, activation, effectiveness, how much water I'm drinking. And then I've got my Oura ring scores. So for those of you that do any kind of, tracking with your Apple Watch or Oura ring or other sort of trackables and wearables, you can decide what you want to track. I'm tracking my readiness score, sleep score, and activation score. And as part of my morning routine, I basically go and add these scores to my journal. And then I've got my workout tracking here. So if I click on this, you'll see that this is in relation to the activity database. The activity database is where all of my activities get logged, which we'll get into. So this is one way that I do some of my health tracking. I only show the most recent week, I believe. Yeah, dates relative to today, and it's just the past week. So I can kind of get a snapshot of my week. I can see all the averages at the bottom too. Right, so I can see my average sleep score is 83.3, and I can just compare that against the average that I'm aiming for up here. So, I'm working toward that 85%, and I can just see what's happening right here. Pretty handy. I can also customize what is showing inside of these goals. So if I open up one of these entries in the goal database, let's say I've got workout 5 days a week for 12 weeks, and I've got this current and target. So for me, the current and target can represent anything. You can decide what that means. For me, I want to track the consistency of hitting 5 days a week for 12 weeks. So the target is 12 weeks of hitting that goal. It's not the 60 workouts. I want to track my consistency at a weekly level. And so really, 12 is the target. And what I can do is I can track this at the daily level or at the weekly level. So I've just got my journal database inside the body here. And what I'm doing is I'm filtering for this 12-week date range. And then I only want to see days in the journal where workout is not empty. And that way I can see how many workouts I'm doing every single week. All right, so this is the week that we're in. There's only been 2 workouts here because the week is not complete. But I can see that I've hit that requirement every week. You can use the data in the body of the goal to help you measure against the current and target. Similarly here, I can show the weeks here and just show how many different workouts I did, and then I can adjust the number. Like, okay, I've got the 6 weeks in here. Great. Similarly for the readiness score and the sleep score, anything else that you are tracking in your journal, you can bring that into other pages. So I'm bringing the journal database here, and I'm just filtering this to show is between January 1st and 31st. So it's going to bring in all of those journal entries. And it's just, I'm only showing the readiness score. That's the only thing I'm measuring right here. Readiness. And then I can average that at the bottom. So I can see the running average so far is 82.6. But I can actually see it from here too, right? So I can already kind of see if I'm close to those averages just by looking at this chart. Let's open one up just to show you what it looks like. So sleep score, readiness score, workout is a link to the activity database. And if I played dodgeball, I would just link to the dodgeball entry. If I did a new workout with the Lululemon Studio Mirror, then I would add that new workout here. I also have a number of different views here to help me view health-related information in different ways. So again, this is kind of an overview snapshot that's sort of just getting a pulse on what's happening. I can view just workouts if I want to, and so that is activity. Again, you could name this workouts if you want to. I just call it activity. And this is going to show all of the different entries here. I can also do that with the journal database, but the thing about the journal is that if I do more than one workout in a day, can't really see it because you don't have text wrapping in calendar view. So it's not as clear to see how much I'm actually working out. Whereas here I can see there's 2 workouts and 2 workouts. So there's a few days that have a number of different workouts. The other thing I can do here too is track supplements. Again, the calendar view is actually not that great of a view. So viewing the journal with the supplements visible in a table view is probably going to be a much more helpful view of that. And let's add the omega. All right. So that's my health related tracking. And so again, how we do this is just, you can add number properties. Let's say you wanted to track your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm just using this as an example. And let's do that out of 10. And we want a ring format. Great. So let's say 5 out of 5 anxiety, 4, right? So then Notion's already doing this bar for you, and then you can calculate the average if you want at the bottom. Right? And it's just such an easy way to add your properties here. So anything that you want to score on a 1 to 10, 1 to 100, that's going to be the easiest thing to do with a number property. Let's delete that. We don't need that. Other things you can do, I use an energy database. You don't have to do that, but there are some fun things that you can do with energy, which I'll cover in a different video. And that is giving yourself ideas or reminders of things you can do in the day to help you improve your energy or to give yourself more self-compassion if you're having a low energy day. There are certain recommended activities and things like that based on those properties, but that's a nerdy side tangent that we're not going to go on today. And then I just have another couple views of workouts specifically. So I have the Lululemon Studio Mirror, which has really been helping me get off my butt and work out. So I can see visually things week by week. I really love seeing this visual progress. So this is a gallery view grouped by week or grouped by date. And that's just one fun way to see those activities. Similarly, I can do that in a board view by date if I want to. And then I can just see all workouts on the calendar. So I give myself a couple different options for how I might want to view these different things. But, you know, to be fair, this is not really where I do most of my tracking. Most of the tracking happens in the journal itself, and that is embedded on my Today page. So this is just a place where I can come to kind of get a feel for how is my health, how am I doing toward the goals that I set, and just kind of get an overview snapshot in time. But generally speaking, a lot of that tracking is happening inside of the journal because there's so many properties that I'm able to track over time. I can see things like how are my workouts being impacted by my moods and vice versa, my joy, happiness, sleep. Just to notice over time how those properties are all connected is super, super handy. So rather than having all of these separate databases for all the things that you do, like for example, having a water database or effectiveness and that sort of thing, all of the habit tracking, health tracking, anything that you track on a daily basis, the supplements, vitamins, and minerals, all happen through the journal database. You can also do things like, calculate the percentage checked and whatnot, but I like being able to shrink these right down to just a tiny little checkbox. Did I go for a walk? Did I win the day? Did I do my daily review? All that good stuff. So really at the end of the day, the journal database is the one database that I do most of my tracking through. And because of roll-ups, I can pull information from my journal into these other databases to do counts and roll-ups and just to see how many days did I do this thing? Did I take this supplement? Did I feel this way? And I like being able to kind of have all that data easily visible and consolidated in one place. So there's not too many databases that are working together on the health and wellness side. The biggest ones are probably the workout and the supplements database, energy as well. I like to keep an eye on how are my energy levels, especially if I'm taking certain supplements. I want to know, is this actually impacting the way that I'm feeling? Am I sleeping? And all that good stuff. So the journal is where we can take notes about that stuff, about how we felt and how we're being impacted and all of that. Now, the one last trick that I will show you is that I'm actually using Notion's new-ish recurring templates. So this today workout repeats every day at 6 a.m. when I'm sleeping. So after I do my workout in the morning, Lululemon Studio Mirror actually generates an image after you do a workout, and it prompts you to kind of save the image or do whatever you want with it. So the one thing that I do after the workout is I send that image and I just search today workout because I know there's always going to be one page called today workout every single day, send it into the page, and then I just rename it to whatever that workout was. And so again, that's automatically generated, and then I can input any of the information, connect it to my journal, set the difficulty, type, and target, and then we are good to go. So this page doesn't have to be complex. It can be as simple or as abundant and exciting as you want it to be. But I like just kind of getting a bird's eye view snapshot of my health in one place here. And again, a lot of the individual tracking just happens on a daily basis on my today page. So how do you actually make a dashboard like this where you are bringing in a few of these things? So remember, you can bring your journal database into any page in your space. I like to use /CR to create linked view of database. You can also do /linked. There's a few different ways you can do linked database. I just do /CR. And let's just bring in this progress view. And I'm going to filter this to date is relative to today, this week. Now it's a new feature or adjustment that Notion has made to their date settings. So now I can just view this week, and finally we've got a Monday start. Hallelujah. So again, I've just brought my journal database in here, and now I can turn on any properties that are going to be helpful for me in terms of this tracking. Great. And I can shrink those right up. Excellent. And so then we can start to, again, decide what properties are going to be helpful for you to visualize. But that's it. That's my health and wellness dashboard. I've got my goals at the top that are super easy to update. I can see my weekly progress over here, as well as supplements and anything health specific that you want to track, usually with journal views, if not through my workout and supplements entries. And then I've got my activity database just showing me a couple different versions of that so that I can see progress in different ways. I can really visualize the work that I'm doing, which I find incredibly motivating. I like looking at it. It makes me happy. And remember that this page can be whatever you want it to be. And for some people, this level of tracking might be overkill. Like, I don't track anything that I'm not curious about, that I don't want to know more about. And so, if anything feels burdensome or annoying or taking too long, I just delete it. I don't use it. So I'm only tracking what is important to me. And I encourage you to do the same. So there's no need to add anything here that is not going to be fun for you to track. There you have it. That is my health and wellness dashboard. It's mostly just a couple databases, the goals database, the journal database, and the activity database, with, of course, some relations to things like supplements and energy. You don't need that to be able to have a great journal tracking system. And I just encourage you to track only what is helpful to you. And I promise you, it's faster for you to build this yourself than to try and work with a template. So I get asked all the time for my journal template. My journal template is so complex and integrated with so many other parts of my workspace that just doesn't make sense. And I think it's just going to be overwhelming for the average person. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years at this point and really honed it to my specific needs. So I encourage you to do the same. Start small. Don't try to track everything, especially if you don't already have a kind of tracking habit. There's no need to overdo it with tracking all sorts of stuff. It's going to feel like a burden. So for me, this has just become a habit. It's like a 5-minute thing at the end of the day and a couple minutes at the beginning of the day while I decide what my workout's going to be and all that good stuff. That's it for the health and wellness dashboard. If there's something interesting that you'd like to see next, let me know. I hope it's interesting to see some of the ways behind the scenes that I do some of this tracking. If there's anything that you want to see in more detail, please just ask in the comments below and let me know. I'd love to clarify any of that. And again, I do this because I enjoy it. I'm curious about it. I like looking for those patterns, but you shouldn't track anything that's not really going to help you, or if it feels burdensome, if it doesn't feel fun, you're not going to do it. You're not going to want to keep it up. So I encourage you to just track what makes sense for you to track and just start with a simple journal database and grow from there. That's it for this week. I'll see you next time.